Hi guys, so it is midsummer right now where I live, so it is the perfect time for stargazing or just being outside at night when the stars are out, and that's kind of what inspired this video. I'm going to be talking about star names and constellation names that could also be really cool baby names. So I'm going to start with the boys, and the first name I have is Aries. And Aries is a zodiac constellation. The name Aries is a Latin name that means ram, and I think it could make a really cool astrological choice for a baby who is born under the zodiac sign of Aries in April or May. The next name I have is Crater, and Crater is also a constellation. In Latin, its name means cup. And in Greek mythology, it is considered the cup of the god Apollo. The next name I have is Cygnus, and I think this is a really cool name. It's the Swan constellation, and it is named for the Latinized Greek word for swan. And in Greek mythology, Cygnus was an immortal, and his friend ended up drowning at the bottom of a river, and he couldn't get the body out to give it a proper burial, so he was turned into a swan and lost his immortality, but he was able to then retrieve the body from the bottom of the river and give his friend a proper burial. And Zeus was so impressed by this unselfish act of Cygnus that he cast his image into the sky as a constellation. So I thought that was a really cool story to go along with the name. The next name I have is Dorado, and Dorado is one of the 88 modern constellations, and Dorado is a Spanish name for a dolphin fish, although the constellation is sometimes depicted as a swordfish. The next name I have is Indus, and I love how this name sounds, and it's a constellation. It's not an ancient constellation. It wasn't actually created until the 1500s, and it means Indian. The next one I have is Leo, which is another zodiac constellation, and Leo of course means lion in Latin, and it could be a really cool choice for an August baby or a baby born under the zodiac sign of Leo. The next one I have is Megrez, or Delta Ursa Majoris, and it is a star in the constellation Ursa Major, or the Big Dipper. In Arabic it means the base. Then I have Orion, and Orion is a very famous constellation. Its origin comes from Greek mythology, where Orion was a giant hunter. And it's a very easily recognizable constellation, especially because of the three very bright stars that form its belt. And the last boy's name I have is Polaris, and I think this is so cool. If you are a brave baby namer, this is definitely a very cool name to consider. And Polaris is the brightest star in the Little Dipper, Ursa Minor, and it's also our current northern pole star. This means that it is very close to the North Celestial Pole, and it's sometimes referred to as the North Star. So for girls, the first name I have is Alcyone, and Alcyone is the brightest star in a group of stars called the Pleiades, and in Greek mythology the Pleiades were 7 sisters who were pursued by the hunter Orion, and to help them escape from Orion, Zeus turned them all into stars. The next one I have is Andromeda, and I love the name Andromeda. Andromeda is a constellation named after Princess Andromeda from Greek mythology also. The story of Andromeda is that she was chained to a rock to be sacrificed to a sea monster and then saved by the hero Perseus, who she later married. The next name is probably my favorite name of all time, but I could never use it because of the Harry Potter association, and that is Bellatrix. And Bellatrix is the third brightest star in the constellation Orion, and the 27th brightest star in the sky. The name Bellatrix is Latin, and it means female warrior, and the star is sometimes referred to as the Amazon star. The next one I have is Berenice, and Common Berenice is a constellation. It's named for Queen Berenice II of Egypt. According to legend, Berenice's husband went away to Syria, and so she went and sacrificed her hair to the goddess Aphrodite to ensure that her husband would return safely to her. The next one I have is Cassiopeia, and when I was little I would always go and try and find this constellation in the sky, and it's pretty recognizable because it's in the shape of a W, and I just remember loving the name Cassiopeia. I just thought it was so cool. I think it would take a really brave parent to use the name, but I think it's cool anyways. In Greek mythology, Cassiopeia was not so great of a character, though. She almost brought about the death of her daughter Andromeda when she bragged about how beautiful she and her daughter were, and offended some of the gods. So not the greatest character, but still a really cool name. The next one I have is Lyra, and I think this name is so short and sweet and beautiful. And it's a small constellation that is meant to symbolize a lyre, which is an ancient musical instrument. Then I have one that's a little bit different, and that is Mirza. And Mirza is a star in the constellation Canis Major, and it comes from an Arabic word that means the herald. Then I have Talitha, or Talitha. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. But there are two stars that are called this, and they are both in Ursa Major, the Big Dipper, and Talitha is Arabic in origin, and it means the third leap. So I'm not exactly sure what that meaning has to do with the stars, but I think it's a really cool name. And the last name I have is Vega, and Vega is the brightest star in the constellation Lyra, and the fifth brightest star in the sky, and the name also comes from Arabic, and it means falling or landing. So those are some of my favorite star and constellation names. I would love to know what yours are, so feel free to leave a comment or a video response, and thanks so much for watching, guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye!